In
orcs
front
ever
of it.
taken prisoner?
Hmm?
Like, are orcs ever taken prisoner by the Alliance? Like, if they fight, will they take prisoners of war?
The Alliance would, yes, like make an effort to take prisoners, if only for purposes of interrogation and so
Yeah.
on. There's a famous prison in Stormwind, the Stormwind Stockades, which is full of orcs and dark iron dwarves and all sorts of disreputable types.
Mm-hmm.
True.
But orcs would not willingly be taken prisoner. They'd have to be sort of forcibly held
Understood.
down and disarmed. They would fight to the death.
I'm going to open the window, by the way, a little bit so I can make sure I can hear.
Okay, and the crowd, the sound of the dissatisfied crowd that is forming before the wagon. It's 10 or 12 people now, and more are joining every minute, especially as people come out of the inn to see what the commotion's about and begin to vent their frustrations as well. Between the crowd and the wagon is a fourth man in the same Red Ridge Guard uniform that the other three inside were wearing, who is he doesn't have his weapons drawn or anything, but he's got his hands raised in a placating gesture, and he's clearly trying to make some effort to calm the crowd down. It's not a very successful effort so far, and it's only getting less and less successful as the crowd goes bigger. The crowd is kind of jeering and shouting various things, a lot about Varian. That's kind of a sore spot at the moment. Or a lot of people have lost lost family members. Varian was not the only man who died on the Broken Shore. And in general, you get the sense that there isn't a huge degree of compassion for orcs at the moment, and people are kind of unhappy, even about these ones being chained up, being just present at all.
Yeah.
Can I please have history checks?
Or what?
It's a history check.
Because the dwarves are clothed, and while their clothing is tattered, it does bear visible...
The dwarves?
Orcs rather. Visible signs of allegiance.
I think I might have closed my character sheet.
Yeah, I am also rolling a straight d20.
God damn it, where's my character sheet?
Silas, your history is a +1.
Alright.
Jack, almost all of your rolls are a 0. What now? I got this.
I don't think he's put in his proficiencies for everything yet.
Wow, Jacko.
Yeah, because he has almost no zeros, so this is ridiculous.
Wow. That's very disappointing, Jacko.
Yeah, I've done manually up and
Okay. So again, the elves, not the Worgen. The human, sorry, no one knows he's a Worgen yet.
Exactly. How dare you?
It's your own fault. You told us before.
From the scraps of clothing, and actually also the just general physical appearance of the orcs. They're not actually orcs of the Horde. They're orcs of the Blackrock clan. The Blackrock clan. In a way, it makes sense, or would make sense to you guys if the guards are from Red Ridge, because the Blackrock clan is the chief
I know from Lakeridge.
Belligerent in the Red Ridge Mountains, down from Blackrock Mountain and not Searing Gorge, the Burning Steppes. That's all Blackrock clan territory. The Blackrock clan orcs did actually join the Horde under Garrosh Hellscream in the time immediately after the Cataclysm, when Thrall relinquished leadership of the Horde. The Blackrock clan were brought into the Horde, led by Warlord Zayla. But then when Garrosh betrayed the Horde and the Horde turned against him, he took the Blackrock clan with him. And indeed it was Warlord Zayla was one of the group that broke Garrosh Hellscream out from his war crimes trial after the events on Pandaria, and allowed him to escape back in time and set up all that garbage. So the Blackrock clan, while they were temporarily members of the Horde, are not currently members of the Horde. They are a standalone orc faction, hostile to both Alliance and Horde, in the Burning Steppes and frequently in Red Ridge Mountains. Yeah, basically.
Right.
The chanting about or the various shouts and cries about for Varian and Horde traitors and scum and generally indicate that the crowd is not necessarily as well versed in the history of the orc clans as you two are, and those that might be don't particularly care. They're just happy to be, shouting at an orc.
Any of these villagers actually like armed and stuff?
Not conventionally.
Pitchforks.
But yeah, there's definitely some pitchforks, torches, because it's torches and pitchforks is getting darker. There's a real sort of mob forming now. There's sort of 20 or so about them. And yeah, there's like the blacksmith is probably around with like his hammer stuck through a loop on his belt, and it's not conventionally used for braining people. Could certainly be put to that purpose.
Chris, during the distraction, I would like to try to sneakily exit the window in the center street level.
Okay, it'll be doable because it's not well lit up where you are.
Dark, right? Yeah.
It's pretty dark up where you are, and there's a lot of attention focused on the wagon.
Yeah.
I will, however, point out that the arrangement is there's the front of the building, then immediately in front of it, about 10-15 feet back away, is the wagon.
Yeah.
And then there's a guard, and then there's the Redridge guy, and then there's an entire crowd. So most of the crowd is facing in your direction.
Wait, facing in mind? Oh, but the crowd come from the village, not the inn.
Yeah. I mean, so it loops around, but like it's kind of it's a C shape surrounding this this wagon with like the open side of the sea up against the inn. Okay. So there's a lot of eyes in your direction. It'll be doable, but it's not going to be the easiest stealth check in the world.
Okay, fine, I'll do it.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, if someone sees me, what, they're going to be like, hey, there's a guy coming out the window. Yeah. Oh, there's orcs anyway, I don't care, right?
Sure.
Yeah, they have.
I think there's like a tree out there and something that you'll be able to sneak your way into. Okay. Well, if you are noticed, I guess give me. Do
I notice him with a 28?
They're looking in the wrong direction.
Give me.
I'm looking around the crowd.
No.
Like, I'm not looking so much.
The crowd is in the opposite direction.
I'm distracted.
Acrobatics in.
Acrobatics. That is a thing in this game.
What if he falls down? It'll be glorious.
No falling down.
Okay, so
very acrobatically get out.
Shalon, you do notice as a figure dressed in the garb of a cheesemonger swings agilely out a window along the kind of sloped tier of roof above the lower floor, swings into a tree and elegantly drops to the ground, sort of some 10 feet away from the crowd.
Wait, can I? Yeah, okay. 10 feet away. In what way, Chris? So into the front.
Out the side. I mean, I'm
on the side.
I'm going to do a scribble.
Yes.
A
So
scribble.
this is the inn.
No, that's not the inn.
This is the crowd.
Can you stop?
Okay, I'll stop.
Drawing penises, please.
Every fucking time.
So the inn is broadly freehand. There we go. Black. The inn is broadly this shape that I'm drawing now. There and back. Okay. Your window was here, but on the top floor.
Oh, excellent.
The thing is parked. The wagon is parked here. The guard is kind of standing here, with the crowd sort of half mooning around like so.
Yep.
Irritatedly, the door to the inn, by the way, that Shalon and Talia came out of is here.
Okay. And to where have I dropped down to?
And yeah, there's sort of a tree in this location, bushy, that you kind of swung into. And
where are the horses kept?
Here. The horses are in front of the wagon in, I'll say, this box. I'm not drawing horses.
No. Like.
Oh, right, yeah, the trough is here. So I guess there should be a little more room because people's mounts would be here, but, it's rough.
Okay, so it's like right and the horses are right below my window.
Yeah.
I could have done like the Zorro jumping down thing, Chris. You gotta tell me these things. What a missed opportunity. And wait, and so where's my cart? Is that also there?
Your cart's parked. I'll move these back a little bit so there's actually room for the mounts to be there. Your cart is For some reason, it's purple now, but around here.
Excellent. I head onto my donkey.
By the way,
You can't actually ride the donkey.
I can't.
In the meantime, real quick. So me and Shalan came out of the same door, so we're relatively
Yeah,
close.
Shalan, if you want to react to the having spotted of.
I mean, I definitely just try to keep an eye on him the entire time.
He's certainly a shady individual.
Exactly. Like I don't see
him
him doing anything technically like illegal or dangerous, but I do think what he's trying to avoid notice, obviously. So I'm gonna try and keep an eye on him.
Well, you noticed I would have gone through the front door.
So my immediate attention would be on Shalan, but she seems more preoccupied by something, whatever, something other than the crowd, basically. Right.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll just hop on a barrel and watch for now.
There are indeed barrels around.
Obviously.
Okay, Silas, back to you. Your donkey is too small for you. It's not been trained to be ridden and does not have a saddle.
Damn it. Okay, I'll hop onto the cart. And I'm making sure I'm ready to leave.
Is it like someone's house creature? You're gonna stand up on the back and whip the donkey? Okay.
How I don't understand. Are you saying I walk next to the cart?
The donkey is like a pack saddle, right? Like.
Is it a wagon that you sit on the wagon, or the wagon?
No, you would walk next to it on the way.
I'd walk next to it.
Yeah. Oh, it's a donkey. I'm not gonna ask you to pull your weight and all the cheese.
The cheese is gone.
Okay, but I mean, now you could, but on the way down you didn't.
But it'll be a faster travel back anyway. Okay.
Unless
I'll
you
just
decide
yeah, exactly. I'll basically unhook the donkey from the.
Donkey's over here with the other steeds at the moment.
Oh, I will unhook him and come lead him towards the cart.
Okay, so you sidle up. I'm getting out of here. You sidle up and begin.
Exactly.
Okay, as the crowd is growing increasingly raucous and agitated. And in fact, it's about the point that the three other guards of Lakeshire who are inside come out to investigate the commotion. That the first member of the crowd, followed swiftly by several more, and then almost the entire crowd, against the protests of the guard standing between them and the wagon, surged forwards and began angrily rocking the wagon, as if trying to harm the orcs inside by, I don't know, making them sick or pushing the whole thing over to hurt them.
Sick.
But they're angrily, they're not thinking particularly. They're grabbing on. There's like 30 or so people now. As a big wave sort of pushed up against the wagon with the poor guard trapped in between them.
Are the orcs just roaring at them or whatever? Or are they
the two orcs who can speak are yelling back at the crowd, although there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of comprehension. One side speaking Orcish, one side speaking Common.
Yeah.
But yeah, the two orcs inside are a big part of the reason the crowd's aggravation is growing. They're kind of taunting and jutting their chins out and yelling at the crowd and really riling them up. And the crowd is now pushed past the point of their tempers already hot have now flared over and a riot is breaking out.
What about like the local militia of Goldshire? Like what's his name? The
Marshal Duggan.
Marshal Duggan, yes.
Marshal
We're standing on the
Duggan.
opposite side of the street.
He's not there right now. He's at home in bed, but I'm sure he'll turn up at some point. No, there is no current sign of the local militia, or at least maybe some of them are out of uniform and in the crowd. But no, yeah, certainly the sort of 2 or 3 members of the Goldshire militia are not here to break up the disturbance yet. Although the guards do begin attempting in vain to subdue the crowd. They're not entirely. I mean, the one pinned between the crowd and the wagon is quite desperate. But the other 3 are not. They're mostly trying to get their friend out. They don't. There isn't a kind of a panicked degree of urgency about the way they're trying to waylay the crowd. They don't seem to particularly care about sticking their neck out for a trio of orcs. I mean, they are trying to stop the crowd, but they're not, drawing swords or anything and ordering the crowd to back off. They're just trying to calm them down unsuccessfully.
God damn it. So what is it?
Reactions from the party.
When this happens, first I want to say, what is Silas doing? Because I've been keeping an
Silas,
eye on him.
he's been collecting his donkey and leading it back around to his cart.
Yeah, I'm kind of calmly hitching him up to the cart. Well, still, I still know what's happening around me. It's not like, I'm not paying any attention,
Okay.
but I'm definitely just, I'm going through the job of hitching him up.
Mm-hmm. What is the guy who, like, the fourth member? Like, there's the 3 guards inside that were in the red.
Yeah. The fourth member was trying to subdue the crowd and now is trying to not sort of be crushed between the crowd and the wagon.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, his friends are sort of trying to rescue him, trying to stop the crowd from. And as this is all happening, the wagon begins to sort of rock back and forth further each swing, and it's clear that at some point it's gonna tip over.
Okay, I just want to see if this works. Oh, that does not sound anything like what I thought it would. Okay, never mind. Who would thought that flash of light is not a flash of light, but is something else entirely as a spell?
Well, anybody's ever played a paladin healer, but yeah.
Is there lots of new spells for Maiden?
There's quite a lot of new spells, yeah.
Yeah, it's a shit ton, and I'm having a hard time, like, because it says I have bless, and I'm like, you don't even have bless listed, so I'm just assuming it's normal bless.
Yeah.
There is like a section where it's like what the spells got renamed to.
Yeah, so it just says that I have bless, but then bless isn't.
Yeah,
a spell.
let me see if I can find old spell names, new spell names.
Wait, we're casting shit? What's
It
happening?
must be a normal. He's looking at his spells, not necessarily casting.
I was
Bless
I
isn't
thought for
listed on the.
second that
chain.
flash of light might be like a bright flash of light.
Yeah, any spells that are listed just but aren't specifically changed in this book are just regular as they would be in 5e.
Gotcha.
I mean, flash of light definitely creates a flash of light as well, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like a holy light. But...
I mean, it's like it's not like a blinding flash, but it's a noticeable.
And our
illumination.
cantrips basically that's the exact same because I can't find any cantrips anywhere.
Cantrips, 0-level spells, yeah, they're the same, but they use mana in this edition. They use 1 mana.
They can.
They can until you have proficiency bonus 3. They use 1 mana, and then
Gotcha.
because they cost 3 minus your proficiency bonus.
Right.
So they can give you mana back when you cast them at high levels.
That is in fact not the case.
What?
No, it doesn't work like that.
Oh, but that's pretty
I just
smart.
gain mana for casting light over and over again.
Be nice.
Shit.
That's
So I'm
pretty
actually
similar.
gonna I'll look around to see if anyone else is making a move to try and stop the crowd, and if to help them, and if not, I'll just go
How
to
big
try
is this crowd?
and sway the crowd.
35 people now.
Wait, as I notice you start making a move, I tap your shoulder and clear my mouth.
Mhm.
So I can speak.
Yep. You're like eating his cheese. I get it.
Yeah,
It's real
delicious.
good,
It's
right?
best in
Be
the
careful though, be careful.
Poison.
So yeah, Ishnu Allah, sister. If I were you, I would advise against what you're trying to do. And even like one sister against these peasants, it's not gonna end well for you.
I don't plan on fighting them, but they must be shown the right way.
Do you believe these orcs deserve justice, even if they're not guilty of the crimes they've been? What when you're
They're being
convicted?
they're being blamed for.
Yeah, crimes you're blamed for.
Confused, right? Yeah.
Said if that's the problem, they would be punished for crimes they did not commit. If they have other crimes, yes, they should meet their justice.
In the end,
However-
it doesn't matter, does it?
Meanwhile, the yelling is
Yeah.
intensifying and the wagon is rocking dangerously.
Well, okay. As I see, you're actually like, I just hold up my hand and say, "Well, don't say I didn't warn you."
At this point, by the way, as the crowd is becoming particularly agitated, the mounts that have been sort of tied up in front of the inn, who are themselves becoming increasingly agitated by the kind of yelling and chaos around them, collectively manage to break free of the hitching post and
Scatter donkey.
scatter in all directions. Yes, you do have your donkey, but now suddenly, at least briefly, because they get quite far away quite quickly. There's horses and big cats and things running in all directions.
The wagon has, you said, multiple horses hitched to it.
4,
What are they? What are they reacting?
They're even worse panics, but it's not so easy for them to pull free.
Okay.
The wagon
They're
is
not trying to,
great,
like,
they can't get away
Yeah,
with
and
it.
it turns
It's
out
ways. They're trying to
reverse is hard
away.
with the horse and wagon.
Yeah, they're trying to pull away, but the whole thing is braked, and it's so there's agitator, there's foamy at the mouth and rolly of the big horsey eyes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
There's not much they can
Yeah.
do.
So again, I'm just gonna go up and try to yell to get the attention, like stand in front of the crowd if possible, like to the ones who were most aggressively trying to.
Sure. You can kind of get to the side of the wagon. Directly in front of the crowd is the wagon. They're kind of all pushed up against it, but yeah, you can kind of try and, or you can stand behind it, but then you're in danger of being squashed when they do eventually push it over.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be to the side, probably towards like the back side if I can,
Sure.
like around.
Yeah, you get around the crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Oh boy. Yeah, that makes sense. And this is gonna go well, guys, because that's a straight D20 disadvantage.
Nice. In the way of the light, and if there is a god, 2 nat 20s incoming.
No.
GH1. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it's not the worst. What is the persuasion of your arguments?
So obviously most people would know what the Orcish hordes did to the Night Elves, right? And so I have
Yes.
I kind of start saying like I have no love for the orc, like the orcs themselves. However, these are not those that killed Varian. And I just try to reason with them like, I understand your anger and your hatred towards them. I feel it as well. However, we must not sink to their level and punish them for crimes they did not commit.
One sec. My food.
Okay, you have some success with the nearer members of the crowd to you, who kind of stop and look a bit pensive. But over the kind of just general roaring of the 2 orcs and the other 25 people and so on, it's quite hard for your message to get across to
Everyone.
To the bulk of everyone. Yeah, but for now you've delayed. The thing is now rocking a bit less because there's 5 or 6 fewer people pushing, so it's not so.
Okay.
You bought a bit of time.
Chris,
Gotcha.
in classic elven style, I moonwalk back into the inn. No, okay. No,
You a loon walk?
no, I turn around
Fucking hell.
and very sensibly quickly walk back to my table. Or limp as
Okay, I'm
far as
back,
I can.
but I'm gonna not have my camera wide.
Okay. Why not? I do.
Okay, the inn's like half empty now. I mean, like about half the crowd that were previously in the inn.
Did I miss anything?
Moved
Jack went
outside.
back. Jack went back into the inn.
Jack has gone back inside. Josh is.
but I'm grabbing my gear and coming back up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of watching. Wait, so how well did Josh?
Josh's having limited
I got a 14.
success. He's
yeah. But like, how
he reached sort of 5 or 6 people, but the problem is most of them can't really hear him over the sound of their own yelling.
So,
It all
have
makes
I
sense.
finished
He's
hitching
bought,
up my
he's bought
thing
some
yet?
time. Yes, you finish hitching up your donkey.
Okay.
Josh has bought some
I'm gonna,
time, so it's going to be another sort of 15-20 seconds before the thing flips over, but it's not it hasn't remedied the situation.
Okay, and the orcs are like, how well are the bindings holding them? Like they're connected to the they're connected to the central. If this thing breaks open, does the thing holding them gonna break off? Does it look like? Like they're connected. One of them's connected to the roof, right? But is it like heavy metal connecting them?
It could. It depends how the whole cage section of the wagon's a good 5 feet off the ground. So if and when it falls, it's a fair drop to the ground, and depending on how much damage it ends up doing to the whole structure of the cage, because that's basically there's a cage and there's a big pole in the middle. 2 of them are chained to that pole.
Mhm.
And one of them is chained between a ring on the ceiling and a ring on the floor with manacles, hands, feet, and around his mouth. So
We'll have a use for this after all. Sweet.
there is a. It depends how much damage the fall does to the integrity of the cell as a whole.
Okay, so I'm gonna reach into the back of my cart and get out the short bow that I have stowed there, but I won't put an arrow to it.
And is it in a secret compartment?
Yeah, not really. Just hidden under a blanket.
Sure. Okay.
I'm allowed to carry one, right? There's no laws
a
about
blanket with a secret compartment.
Yeah, but I mean, you're allowed to carry
Yes.
weapons, right? In this world, yeah. Yeah. And I'm not like putting an arrow to it, but I'll have my arrows next to me.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll just be watching.
Talia, you went back inside and retrieved your stuff.
Yeah, I was originally just going back for like some weapons, but knowing this thing could just spiral out of control, just grab my entire like backpack and just use my entire setup, just in case I need to build.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to cast Thaumaturgy as a cantrip.
Okay.
To make my voice boom loudly over the crowd as I like try to climb up and like grab the bar on the side and stand up so that more of the group could see me.
Okay, yeah, you pull yourself up on the side of it. Okay.
Yeah. And then cast Thaumaturgy to loudly make my voice booming and tell everyone to stop.
Okay, cool. Give me another persuasion check this time without disadvantage.
Quick question: like random peasants and stuff. Like, how common is it for someone to be like an adventurer or have like magic and stuff like that?
Not very common. No,
Okay,
no
cool.
more common than standard fantasy.
Got it.
Wait, Chris, I'm gonna say something in TeamSpeak.
Sure.
But proceed.
Josh, while you are able to reach more of the crowd, the new method of presentation of your argument does something to dampen the kind of conciliatory and peaceful message that you were trying to get across, and you don't manage to convert any more of the crowd.
Yeah.
And indeed, you have to sort of, after a short while up there, you have to step off or risk sort of being shaken free by how violently this thing is now being rocked back and forth.
Okay.
Let me just see what Jack goes typing to me real quick.
Yeah. We'll wait to see because I'll let everyone do their action and then see what I can do next.
Okay, well, so it's about this point that Talia gets back outside with her like her pack and weapons and stuff, and all her belongings that have been left inside by her table. And it's at that point that you're stepping off, and Silas is pulling out a short bow that was concealed in a hidden compartment in a blanket on the back of his wagon.
Mm-hmm.
That the cart finally teeters over its center of gravity and falls smash to the side exactly where the mounts that have now all escaped were, crushing the water trough as it does so. At the same time, kind of by the twisting force of the rocking as it rotates 90 degrees, the horses that were bound to the front of the wagon, they're, I don't know, what are the wooden things that keep a horse to a wagon called? I can't remember. I'm not a technical person when it comes to wagons, but they all break. And those horses, the harnesses and the wooden bits, and it all snaps free. And as a kind of collective group, those four horses, in a mad panic, dash off, bowling over in their haste a couple of the guards who previously been traveling with this wagon, who were at that end of the crowd trying to unsuccessfully just soothe them. And now the whole thing has fallen over onto its side. This is as Silas is getting his bow out. Shallan is stepping off the wagon just in time, and Talia is getting outside. There's a kind of brief pause in the kind of yelling and chanting as the kind of it is with that oof of effort the crowd manages to topple the whole wagon. And there is a kind of grating and a pounding of iron, and rivets and bolts do come out and go flying as the cage is subjected to sudden and unnatural stress of having been toppled 5 feet onto its side. The pole inside comes free, although the two at one end, although the two orcs do kind of still have, they're now lying on their sides, a bit dazed, with their chains still around it. But if they took the time now, they could loop their chains over the top, and while they wouldn't have freedom of movement because their hands would still be chained together, they could move around. The back door comes open. The bolts, kind of the door pops off its hinges because it was rested wastily on them, not secured in place by anything other than the force of gravity and the extreme weight of the door. And the third orc inside, the one who was more heftily chained up, as he falls, is kind of left dangling for a second, suspended between floor and ceiling, and then the ring and the ceiling to which his hands were bound, his hands still manacled, comes free from the ceiling, and he kind of crashes into what was once the wall and is now the floor of this wagon lying on its side.
Gotcha.
The crowd begins to surge forwards at the end of the wagon where you are, Shalon, kind of pushing past you, eager to be at the now stunned occupants. What do the three of you do?